Good night. Blessings, blessings, my people. Love alone. Welcome, welcome back to another episode of the All Over It podcast. You know, we uncovering it all. We staying consistent. You know it. Yeah. As they say, another day, another dollar. Well, another week, another episode. And we here with it. We staying consistent. And guess what? I know you've been tuning in and you already know. We ain't come here to play. We come here with good thing, with value. So yeah, let me know who they are. Leave comment. I always tell you like, subscribe, share, comment, do all of that YouTube, social media stuff. Yeah, all of it. Total, tout moon. Yeah, they don't know, but yeah, like I say, another week and we here with it, episode 52. Yeah, spotting opportunities and fixing business problems like a pro. Hey, blessings, Ruby. Welcome. Glad to have you. I agree. I agree. With God's guidance and wisdom, we could make anything happen. Check. Yeah. I agree. And I'm glad that He'll give it. And that's how we do it for you, like you say. Appreciate the blessings. Appreciate the blessings for the carnival. And thank you very much. Blessings and love. You don't know. Big up yourself one time. And at that point, yeah, for those who don't know, those who not in St. Martin or, yeah, not in the mix, it's carnival time. So I wishing everybody a safe carnival season for sure. It been good. Today was Juve this morning. I did not attend. Fun fact. I was not there. But yeah, Carnival in St. Martin must be a nice time, a nice showcase of our festive side and showcase of St. Martin's hospitality and the different things we have to offer, whether food wise, drink wise, just experience, plain and simple. So yeah, for those who never attended, April going into May is a good time to visit St. Martin for St. Martin Carnival. No. But yeah, we here, like I say, episode 52, and we doing things. We making things happen. I got a little joke about how I've been saying I'm making a year anniversary in the podcast coming up soon, which I realized last week that I've been saying 56, but it's actually next week. I started this podcast the first week of May 2025. And now, next week is going to be May 2026. So, yeah, a whole year, every Monday, straight through consistently. Whether I travel, whether I had things to do, I made sure make this happen. So, yeah, love and blessings and just yeah, God guidance and wisdom for sure. And I gotta say, I feel like I'm doing God's work. And truthfully, He does give me the inspiration. Like I just wake up, or sometimes I might just have thoughts cross my head, and it'll be like, I need to talk about this on the podcast. And like I say, God inspiration. So, like I say, if you know, If you've been rocking, if you've been tuning in for a while now, you see the growth. You don't know, we building, we elevating, we ain't just talking. We about that action. Like I say already weeks ago, we in a season of execution. Okay, good. So bottom line, like I say, God inspired me to talk about these things. And today's episode is no different. Today's episode, I'm going to show you, let me say, how I think as a business person, but how I approach consulting cases, business cases, deal with consulting clients in, let me say, these are some scenarios of cases, business cases, if you will. So real world scenarios. So basically watching this episode, the last episode, even like the series of this podcast, you can get a good understanding of business for sure and how you should operate, not just as a business owner, but as a individual who believe in personal growth and trying to better yourself. So bottom line, this is a place. We ain't just starting, but we fixing and we spotting opportunities. We doing things. So before I get into the real world scenarios, I want to share, I'll say something that was on my heart. And it's funny because I have some people, why you don't do content about like other things, like maybe agriculture, or other things that you just do, maybe entertainment content or so on. Like I used to do music, maybe do content about music or things like that. And you know, honestly, it's something I think about. So it ain't to say like I just disregard the statement, you know. But I don't know. Like I all about business. Like Oliver is all about business. I all about my business. Like every day I thinking about business. I love having conversations about business. Like I always looking and seeing opportunity, in different places. Like let me say for example, before I get into the real world scenarios, I'll give you like two short stories or examples of like spotting opportunity, and like I say, some people ask me why I don't switch up more, but the reality is this is how my mind thinks, like business, and we should be trying to elevate ourselves and our situation financially, no matter what, So I feel like it's good thing for me to share because I know about these things. So if I have the knowledge, why shouldn't I share it and help people elevate themselves, motivate and inspire people to better themselves and their situation. Check. And yeah, like I said, example, story one. I remember I went to Statius, St. Eustatius Island, off of St. Martin, sister island to St. Martin. And when I was there, of course, we drive around, we see the place, see the town, take like a kind of small tour of the island. And I remember specifically, they had this rundown hotel that I see. And I know most people will just see like an old building, but I see potential. And the good thing is, okay, it was a building, it looked like it get damaged maybe from hurricane or whatever the situation. But it still was standing. You could see like there was damages, but it was still standing. And like I say, I watch that and I see the opportunity, I see the potential in it. I check in by. If I had that, I would have fixed it up and open it back. Whether I like renovate it. So let me say bring in an architect to check the structural integrity. So meaning like how strong the building still is to see if I could just like repair it, renovate it. Or maybe just say, you know what? To make sure I know for sure it's a good strong building, I just demolish the whole thing and build a new one. And what was there was maybe about 5 to 7 floors, 5 to 7 stories, and of course multiple units on each. So on top of that, the bottom floor, of course, had the lobby and reception and thing, but it also had a restaurant and it was dockside. It had a dock. It had its own dock because it was like oceanside, so close to the main dock, the station. And literally, I check in by. If I had that property, oh my gosh, I'd just, like I say, probably demolish it and build a new one, build back the dock, the restaurant, and everything, and could probably rent out the restaurant. The dock people gonna come and dock up, so you could maybe charge for docking or whether you allow your guests to dock their boat there, so that'll be an attraction in itself, you know. And yeah, something like that. You could. It's a hotel. You renting rooms. You could rent uh like tourists that come into the island. You could even like do Airbnb, whatever, you know, timeshare if you want, whatever. You got opportunity, but for sure, the building gonna make the money back. Of course, you gotta consider what's your upfront costs. So to demolish, to construct your new structure, outfit it with all the necessary furnitures and all these different nice, fine and dandy, fine touches. And yeah, just what all it gonna take for you to get it up and running so it could start making money back. And then you calculate, okay, if it making this amount of money, let me say a month, how long it can take for me to recoup my money that I invest. Check. And look, all of this is tying into last week's episode where I talk about like reverse engineering and I use scenarios to show how to do it. Same situation. You know what you want to do? Okay, it can cost this. Okay, once you do it, how much you gotta make in order for you to make that money back, break even, for you to then move forward, you know? And then now you probably brand it and make it better. Over there in Stacia, I don't really have hotels like that. I got like one real main hotel. Other than that, like guest house and inns and Airbnbs and those things, So opportunity, opportunity. Another good example. When I went to Borneo last year, May 7th, they had different things that had interest me that I saw that, like we said, was opportunities and things like that. But one thing in particular stood out to me. It had this floating bar. Like they literally built a bar slash restaurant on the waterfront. So it's like, let me say, oceanside, But instead of it being on land next to the ocean, they literally like put pillars into the ocean and build the structure on top of the water. So it's floating. It's up on top of the water, water underneath water. Okay. Yeah. So you're on top of the water when you go in and dine there and so on. Lovely, beautiful setup and architectural like design. I love it. Even down to like they had like the structure was kind of like a wooden base. So like they kind of like had straw as like the roof. So like it gave it like a more like island traditional type of feel, with a still modern twist. And all I could have think, all I could have think to myself is, yo, imagine one of day in St. Martin. Like imagine, like I literally was thinking like, why, where would be somewhere that something like this could go right now on St. Martin without like taking away from your like coastline beach area, but also like the place kind of already, I don't want to say overpopulated, but like going towards overdeveloped. So things to consider. But like I say, I check in, imagine that in itself, just the attractive, and it's attraction in itself, like the experience, the uniqueness can attract people. And then now once you're giving good service, you got good products and things selling, you're good to go, and yeah, it's just opportunity. Like some people might pass and see that and just see like, yeah, okay, I could go by the bar, get a drink. But I see like, okay, that's a good business there, but like what made them think about that? Like maybe how I could maybe recreate something like that type of vibe, and some people see what it is, but I see what it could be, the potential. And bottom line, that's vision. You gotta have vision to do that, because like literally I see things before it there. Even like I talk about the coconut stand here on different occasions now recently, and literally I visualize it before I even do it. I visualize how I want it to look inside, outside, everything. You check? So I could tell you when it come is like you don't know. You see it already, and that's vision. So even bonus. When I was living in Miami doing my studies, which Tess could probably attest to this one. Attest. Funny. Um, they build this Hard Rock Cafe, the Hard Rock Seminole Business Incorporation, the corporation. They build this guitar shaped hotel in Florida. So let me say like Fort Lauderdale side was really Hollywood, but I want to mix up people and make them think Hollywood in Los Angeles, like in California. No, like Hollywood, they have a city named Hollywood in Florida. Maybe I should have bring up Google Earth. But anyways, so they build a hotel. No, I can't remember how much stories out my head. Maybe I should Google it, but like at least 20 stories. Like it's big, tall, like kind of like a skyscraper in the shape of a guitar. Like literally, when you see it, it's a guitar without the without the bridge. It just have like the body. Good. I remember I used to watch that structure when it finished, because I see it from when it was constructing up to when it finished and actually was operating. I remember I used to watch and just be amazed, like kind of mesmerized, checking like, yo, the amount of money that they probably spent to build that. So a day I Google it and it was over like 3 point something billion, so with a B, not N. And I check in by yeah, but look how much money spent to build that. But the thing is some people might hear that and think like, why? They spend so much money to build that. But the thing is, when you're a business owner, before they even start that construction, they already do their calculations and already know how much they're going to make. So in a sense of like, they know how much they're going to generate from that business, that now they could say, okay, we put up 3.2 billion, but maybe in 3 years, we're going to break even. So recoup that money back. And then after that, everything is profit. Of course, you got your overhead and your expenses to pay your operational costs and things, but you know what I mean. You break even, all the money you invest, you make it back, and now everything moving forward, you could consider profit. Good. And imagine, like I say, this thing is a guitar shaped hotel. I remember the lowest room, casting room, was like 360 something. And that is like basic. They still have like deluxe. They still have, of course, the penthouse. They have like, like one room, two bedroom, these type different things. But additionally, paying only the hotel, they have like indoor concert hall, outdoor concert hall, like by the pool side and thing. They have, of course, the casino. So that's its own beast by itself. They have they even have like small things like a comedy club theater, whereas they could host like comedy shows. They have other like maybe conference halls or other theater halls, whereas they could host other events and rent it out for other people to host events. They have in the, let me say, lobby of the hotel, have retail stores. They have, of course, restaurants, all these different things. So like we as like individuals, as consumers, might look at that and say, bye, look how much money they spend just to build that. But they probably making like a million, a couple million a month. So they looking at it like, okay, like I said, 2, 3 years we make that money back. And then after that, we making a million, couple million a month. So I just give you these examples to like I guess like I say, show you how people need particular the spot opportunity and how other business owners does look at things, even incorporating, like how I mentioned, the reverse engineering your goals and making sure you do your calculations, because that's what these big people doing. And trust me, you start small to get big now. These big people wasn't big always, so they start small. They start somewhere, but they just start good. They make sure what they were doing, they had a good system in place that they could make sure things running smooth. And then after that, they just gotta manage and track things good, and you're good. Once things growing, you're good. Yeah, growing in the sense of you're making more sales. You see, you're bringing on more customers, and maybe even new products, different things. But anyways, all these things we're going to cover today in these real world scenarios that I share in today. So like I say, last week I gave 3 real world scenarios, which was For instance, if somebody wants to start a business or if they want to start investing or things along those lines. But today, we're moving slightly different. We're giving business cases today. Now, so three real world business scenarios of, let me say, if you got your business running, but maybe your business got little issues, little problems, little bottlenecks or setbacks that you're facing, we're going to optimize it. So a few episodes ago, I spoke about business optimization strategies and implementing business optimization practices so that if your business is in a rut, is in a down trend, in a decline, if it's just plateaued, if it's not growing, if let me say maybe you're making money but you keeping money because you're spending money on all kind of different things. These are the type of scenarios for you. Telling check. And I'm going to show you exactly how I approach them and how we could fix them. So like I say, I can give you the scenario, break it down for you, give you the full picture, and I'll show you how we could fix this, what we could do to better this situation. And that's what these scenarios are all about. Like I say, I'm giving it to you so that you could get a real understanding of these principles in like real examples, but also so you could see yourself in these examples. I want that as I go through these scenarios, you could see yourself and think like, I got a business like that. And okay, maybe I ain't making exactly that amount, but I'm making close or similar, a similar situation. Long story short, they checking, okay, you know what, all of us say there, maybe I could implement and better my situation, and it's just all about helping. Check. So, bottom line, if you could hear these scenarios and think for yourself, that's like me now, and it actually help you better your situation, all about the way you had to do. Tell you already, tell her you all here. You're doing God's work. And if you, like I say, see yourself in any of these scenarios, then for sure it can implement, you can implement it. So boom, get into the meat of the matter. Share screen, share screen, sharing screen. Good. So this is how we want our business to look. We want to be our business to be soaring through the skies and just doing great and wonderful, wondrous. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Straight up. Straight up. So as we get into things, like I say, scenarios. Maybe I should do that. Increase the zoom a little bit. Scenario one. Good. So now we have scenario one. Basically, the situation is we have high revenue but low profit. Why? Cost is the problem, high expensive. So let's get into this scenario. Example, we have a small restaurant business, which they're making a monthly revenue of $20,000. So every month they got orders and sales that by the time the end of the month when they add it up, they're making 20,000 in total. But then the expenses is 18,500. So quite high. So they only net profiting 1,500 out of 20,000. So that ain't even 10%. Yeah. So, like I say, they're making 20,000 every month, but by the time they cover all the expenses and overhead, they're only getting 1,500. You hear that difference? That's a big difference. That is a big difference. So their problem is, on paper, of course, they're making money, but they're not keeping it. So basically, for my diagnosis, let me say, like I say, it's a food, small restaurant business. So we do a diagnosis and we see that their food waste is high and the staff is overscheduled and they have unnecessary subscriptions. So bottom line, you do your diagnosis. Like I say, the restaurant doing good. They're making 20,000, but the expense is high, 18,500. Now, as I do my check, I see that their problem is their expenses. They spending a lot of money on food, but a lot of the food wasting because it ain't being used. Then, like I say, things like staff overscheduling. So now you have more staff than you need on the clock. So now you got people, they are just lax. So basically you gotta optimize scheduling and get a good idea of how much people you really need at a time to get things done at an optimal level and make that happen, because now you're saving where personnel costs is concerned, wages and personnel. Unnecessary subscriptions, like I say, so maybe you have like various computer subscriptions or software that you purchase and you're paying for every month, but you aren't using it. So bottom line, what you'll need to do is, going back to our scenario, cost optimization. That's the key thing for this business. So you want to reduce waste, so better inventory tracking. So you track what coming in, what being used, and so now you're buying what you need. You aren't buying a bunch of bulk or a bunch of excess things that now will end up wasting. You adjust your staffing schedules. So maybe you don't necessarily go and do your deep dive and say, okay, this amount of people I need, but you just like say, what, okay, let me try cutting back at one person for this duration of time. See, so you start small, basically, let me say like that. And then, like I say, you cut unnecessary recurring costs. So that could be anything from, like I say, computer subscriptions, like computer programs that you're paying for every month, or maybe even you paying somebody every month to come and maybe clean the exterior, the outside area, but they ain't doing it. Maybe you still got somebody on your staff have to still do it, or something along those lines. Whatever it be, you spending money unnecessarily and recurring that now you can't keep money. So let me say, for instance, like I say, the issue is the expenses. So if we was to do some cost optimization, like we say, let me say you reduce your expenses from 1800. Let's write it. Reduce expenses from 18,500 to 1,600, 16,000. So now you add an extra 2,500 in your pocket. So good. But now the thing is, you don't really do nothing crazy, you know? Sometimes the fastest way to make more money is to stop losing it. So like they say, stop the leaks. So it's like you got a bucket that water flowing in, but at the bottom of the bucket got a bunch of holes, so the water just flowing out. The simplest thing would be first, before you try to open your tap and get more water flowing in, the easiest thing would be you get some type of tape, or they got a like product that they was advertising that water resistant, you could slap on both and all. You get something that you could block the holes, block the leaks. So the less leaking you got, the more water staying in your bucket. And it's the same thing with your business. The less money going out mean more money staying in, and that mean more money in your pocket. You check. So like I say, if you reduce your expenses from 18,500 to 16,000, you saving 2,500. Yeah, it might be small, but right now you're getting 1,500, and I guess you're surviving off of it. So now if you add that 25, you got now 4,000. So realize your profit jumped from 1,500 to now 4,000. You didn't increase your sales, but your profit more than double. Make sure you don't miss that. You check? So literally, you make some small adjustments. So now you're able to save 2,500 a month. Like I say, maybe you're checking like, okay, instead of spending $1,000 on lettuce, you're spending now 700 or maybe even 600. So now that's 400 saved there. Maybe personnel, you save 1,001. So that's 1,005 right there. You check, and then now you realize that you got a bunch of subscriptions to, maybe you don't use Office, but you got subscription. And like Office is something everybody use, but I just use that as an easy example. Something that you got to pay for every month. Maybe you got a CRM platform that you don't use at all, but you're paying money for it every month. So maybe by the time you add up everything, that another $1,000 there, and now you able to hold back 2,500, 2,500 back in your pocket. Like I say, more than doubling your net profit that you currently have. And then now from there, you could also make other adjustments. So that's just a light version of what you could do. That's like just a quick get some more money in the door type thing. But really and truly, for sure, if you go through and you analyze those expenses, you could cut it back more than 16,000, because, yeah, 16,000, 18,500, and you're only making 2,000, 20,000. That's not good. That's no bueno. That's no bueno. So like I say, if you was to just look at your costs and say for yourself, you know what? I could cut back. I cut back here, cut back there. Things gonna still flow good. Everything will operate as it should, smoothly, but no more money coming in my pocket. Like I say, sometimes the fastest way to make more money is to stop losing it. Stop the leaks. Lessen the leaks at least, you know? And like I say, it didn't increase your sales, but it took your profit double, more than double, you know? Double would be 3,000. You make 4,000 now. You check? So now you got money that you could maneuver. You got a little more money, you could do more things. You know, maybe you need equipment for the business, but because the profit so small, you can't really invest back. You know, so now you got some more money that if anything, maybe you could say, okay, in 3, 4, let me say 5 months, you could save 2,000, and that's 10,000 there that you could buy whatever equipment you need. You know, so things like these is things that business owners just do, and ways that they just optimize their business, you know? Hi, hi, hi. Blessings. Welcome, Alma. Yeah, my motto. Love alone. Welcome. Appreciate you. Check. Anyways, like I say, that was a simple example of like optimizing your cars, you know? So, like I say, you're making money, but the money going up just like how you're making it. So now, if you lessen your costs, optimize your costs, you're gonna make more money. Simple, easy way. You don't have to go try to increase your sales. So I mean, you gotta buy more products. I mean, gotta do more running around. You know, so basically, different things that increase if you try to increase your sales. So, like I said, easiest thing, best way to start is lessen costs. You know, so let me say now we're moving on to scenario two. Scenario two now is a disorganized business. So scenario two, the disorganized business has a process problem. So let me say we have a business, is a service company. So let me say construction or maintenance. So somebody that does do various construction tasks, let me say like a handyman, somebody that handy but have skills in maybe masonry or carpentry, things along those lines. So service-based company, you gotta go and do the work. Let me say, so you providing a service, and it's either you or somebody from your team going out there to do it. So the business good, you got jobs coming in consistently, but now customers complaining, and you got delays and missed deadlines because most probably you got a lot of work, so probably multiple ongoing projects or customer, let me say, services that you're dealing with, and you don't got like a clear structure, a clear organized plan of approach, so like I say, the problem is no clear process, everything depending on the owner, the staff is confused. So three clear problems, so you yourself don't know exactly what you just do. So the process of, let me say, from when a customer contact you to for your service, to completion, to when you complete it. You don't have no, let me say, like workflow or process outline that you could say, okay, I could train somebody to do what I to do. Or maybe if you write out your workflow, you could look at it and see where you could maybe ease the road for you. So maybe like things that you're doing yourself manually, you could maybe use some type of tool or platform like a computer program to maybe track your scheduling or track your open projects or things along these lines. So you got a clear process, everything depending on the owner, your staff confused, the staff don't know what to do because you yourself don't know what you're doing. And like I say, disorganized business process. So first thing I'll do, diagnose. Now, once I go to this client and I go through my diagnosis, let me say we sit down, we have our discovery, we go through the information, I ask different questions to gauge and gather data. I realize, you know what? These people ain't got no SOPs, which is standard operating procedures. I will touch on that just now. They ain't got no structured workflow, like I say, and they ain't got no accountability. So let me say, if maybe a project was missed, maybe like I say, they had delays or missed deadlines, so like you had to go by a customer, but nobody went, or maybe they have a project outstanding for a customer and maybe you went once, but you haven't been back for a couple weeks, and now the customer complaining because they're checking, but wait, I got this project here. I expected this project to finish. You gave me this timeline, and now it's been weeks, it's been months. So no accountability in regards to when things don't happen or when things ain't done as it's supposed to. Neither the employees nor the business owner is accountable or taking accountability of these things. Good. And all of that is detrimental to your business. Let me make sure, clarify that, because your reputation is everything. If you offer a service to a customer and let me say it get long and drawn out, that now they get upset, that tarnishing your reputation, because first of all, they themselves could have been a recurring customer that would have probably come back to you for future projects, and that's more money that you could have made from that same customer. But now because they got a sour taste, they ain't gonna come back at all. But also that is detrimental to new other customers. Let me say, whether from them referencing or just from because you complete the project. Let me say now people see that project done and they checking, okay, this person do a good job, and they come to you. So it's like your reputation is at fault once you don't, you tarnish your reputation once you don't service your customer. Once you give your word and you don't follow through, that's like a blot. That's like a X next to your name in the customer mind. Cause the customer checking, man, I can't depend on this person. So accountability is important. But it starts with having structure. You gotta know, like I say, what you're doing. You gotta have an organized structure of, like I say, your workflow, organize, let me say, structure of taking orders, setting appointments, all these things will help your business grow and flow well. So for sure, one thing I would recommend is to do a process mapping, so outline step by step their workflow. So let me say an inquiry comes in. So like I say, a client maybe hear about them or maybe see a flyer if they're doing online marketing, if they're doing marketing in any way. So a customer hear about them, maybe get by word of mouth, they get referred from another customer or a friend. One of your friends tell somebody, okay, you need this built. I got this company, I know a friend of mine who got his construction slash maintenance company. Cool. Gali. So the person inquire, they contact you, and now you go assess what they want done and you provide them with a quote. And then once you do the job, so you give them a timeline of how long it take, and then you go through the process of doing the job. So you do the work. Once you complete the job, you get your payment. Or of course, maybe you might have it that after the quote, once they approve the quote, that they gotta pay a percentage, like maybe 50% upfront or before the job starts. So then if that's the case, whatever it is, but then okay, once the job is completed, then you get your final payment. Cool. So I would recommend the customer, the client, look, I know you're doing a good job constructing these walls or building these cabinets or whatever service you're providing under the construction industry umbrella. But everything is in your head. So that's a good thing. Yes, it's good that you know the work good, true and true. But now, if you ain't feeling good, you ain't making no money. Because once you're on the job site, you ain't gonna make no money. Additionally, if you maybe decide you want to bring on somebody, let me say a helper, or maybe you want to bring on a helper that you want to groom into, like somebody that you could have as a worker that could, I'll say, replace you to a level, then now you gotta have that person with you 24/7, or like you gotta have that person shadowing you and make sure that you're showing them the right way, and that maybe like they picking up on everything that you're showing them and they making no mistakes or missing, let me say, certain steps and these different things. Whereas now, if you do process mapping and outline your workflow step by step, you could literally just give your employee your SOP, your standard operating procedure, or let me say your mapped workflow, and they could just read through it and be like, okay, I understand what to do. They understand the assignment because now you got it fully outlined, step by step, clearly, in a nice, organized manner. So, like I say, I would recommend him process mapping, but implement structure. So create SOPs, standard operating procedures, define roles. So decide who doing what, was their job description or job title, if you will, whichever one. And so everybody know what they're doing. And then standardize communication. So make a clear system for everybody to communicate, meaning for you to let the team know what they got to do, what their task is, or let me say maybe if the somebody from the team need to contact you for whatever reason, whether an issue or let me say something happened on the job, or maybe they can't come today, whatever the situation is. Standardize communication, so make it so that it's easy for you to contact them and them to contact you. So even if it's you make a WhatsApp group, for we who use WhatsApp or Telegram, whatever. Even if you make a group for your employees that anything related to the job, they could send a message in the group. That is it. Standardize your communication. So let me say maybe another good example, my boy Calvin, big up my boy Calvin for this one here, like this one. ClickUp. So ClickUp is a good platform. I actually mentioned it a few episodes ago where I talk about AI and using different platforms to automate and organize and streamline your business operations. But yeah, ClickUp is another good one. So let me say maybe you're using ClickUp, you could put tasks into the platform, the platform, and then assign it to certain people. So maybe if you have a project to build a wall for a customer named Susie, you could put that into the platform and then assign it to maybe one or two of your employees. And then now there would be like your centralized, standardized communication area. Whereas now they could go in and say, okay, this is the work I have to do. If maybe they see something amiss, like an issue or something that maybe was overlooked or whatever it is, they could always like put a note there or send some communication there, because they'll have like chats in the platform as well. And yeah, you just create a nice, organized, structured system for you to, for your business to run, but also for you to deal with your employees and just everything, for everything to run smoothly. So a good example, I chose to pull up this document, which let me zoom in a little bit. Let me see, maybe I could zoom in a little more still. Yeah, that should work. So, like I hear me mention on different occasions about my coconut station, my coconut stand. Now, like how I talking about this scenario, I can give you a real testimony then. Let me say, so a real example, a personal example. So I created this standard operating procedure for the coconut battling station. So this is how I'll get into what it is. And why I say let me pull this up and use it is because literally, because I create this document, when I open the coconut station, the coconut water station, I was able to send the employee this document for them to review, and they got the assignment. They literally they went through it and they checked in. Okay, I understand. So this is how you want me to deal with it, manage when I down there. This is how we're going to, deal with it step by step. The procedure, the process, what you do when you go there from start to finish. So literally everything you do, you outline, you say, okay, like literally when I put this together, I sit down and I think for myself, like, okay, when I was doing the coconut water, what all I used to do, how I used to operate, you know? And then now you gotta consider, okay, is a station. So okay, you gotta account for like the sanitization, make sure, let me clarify it, making sure following hygienic and sanitization practices even before this coconut station. But I mean, like, it can be a different ball game. It can be a different, the approach can be slightly different. So all these things in here, And like I say, because I put together this standard operating procedure document where I sit down and I like brainstorm, okay, what would be the workflow? What would be the process from start to finish once that coconut stand open to when it close, how things going to flow, and then even like you think on like let me say issues or troubleshooting scenarios and all these things. So let me get into it. Like I say, a SOP or a standard operating procedure is basically like a document which outlines step by step the procedure, the process taken to complete whatever task being outlined. So in this case, coconut battling station, standard operating procedure. Trust me, I have other ones. I do multiple of these already. Good. So like I said, this is specifically for the coconut stand, but I have others. I just talking about this because I have talked about the coconut stand on various occasions in previous episodes recently. So like I say, when I decided I'm going to open, I sent this document to my employee, let me say, and they review it and they check in, okay, Oliver, I understand what you want me to do, how you want me to do it, and I can make sure follow your procedure. Okay, once it open, because they already know, okay, this is how we want it done, everything just flows smooth. I ain't have to be there and be like, okay, look, this is how I want you to do this. Or like, I didn't have to go and show them the first day. I ain't gonna lie, the first day I went and I was there, I did, take over or, like manage it or do it initially. But then I allowed them to take over and I ain't gonna lie, they manage it good. They even had 1 or 2 days where I didn't show up or I came late and they had already like get things going before I had even arrived. So I had like that initiative, but like I say, because I did this groundwork, I was able to do that. Let me make sure, clarify that. If it was a situation that I had just say, okay, you know what, I can open this coconut stand and let me say today I tell the person, okay, look, you want a job, come work with me here by this stand. I would have had to go and show them what I want them to do, everything step by step. And like I say, doing it like that, you might miss things. So let me say maybe in this SOP, I have like how to dispose of the coconut shell, the husk and thing. Maybe we might not have that in it, or maybe we might not cover that because maybe we might not get to do that in the days properly when I have them shadowing me or when I train in that person, you know? But bottom line, like I say, because I created this, I was able to share it with my employee, and doing that made things streamline, made things run a lot smoother. Because, like I say, even on days where I was unable to arrive prior or before my employee, they was able to arrive and get things started without needing me there. Why? Because they already know the assignment, they already know the mission, they already know the task, they already know what they have to do. So it's just to do it. Like Nike say, just do it. Good. I don't show them what to do, so it's just do it. You check? So I just want to go into this a little bit. Like I'll go through this SOP so you could get an idea of what it look like, what in it, what you just have to put in a SOP. So you could know like, okay, if I want to create a SOP, if I want to document my process or document my workflow, it would look something like this for your industry or your business. So like I said, here I talking about like agriculture, real products. We talking about like a beverage, coconut water, let me say. But maybe you're doing retail, maybe you're selling clothes, maybe you're doing something else, maybe you got a restaurant. Standard operating procedures are necessary, especially like a restaurant. You want to have people doing things the right way because that's hygiene, that's sanitation and health standards, all these things, it's fine if you don't following certain. procedure. Anyways, standard operating procedures is, I would say, important. The purpose of it is to establish a clear process for setting up, operating, and closing the coconut battling station in a safe, hygienic, and effective manner. Good. So the scope, this SOP applies to all staff and assistants operating the coconut battling station. So basically, all of this is just like, the introductory summary, like who it for, like the kind of, we ain't really get to the meat of the matter yet. So responsibility, so like who this SOP really for, so the station operator, the assistant, so the person who daily operating it, the person who assisting them. But so now we get into the real meat of the matter. The first thing, when they arrive, they gotta set up. So before opening. So as I have it, they arrive at the station 30 minutes before opening. So at this point, I had set up tent and secure to wall our support, but we changed direction since then. So we ain't using a tent no more. We have a built structure. So obviously that part is now obsolete. But just for example, so assemble table, chairs, cooler, and the coconut puncturing machine. So the different equipment, bring out the equipment that you need, assemble them, and bring out the coconuts, the bottles, the caps, the funnels, so all the different things you need. The funnel, the strainer, the pitcher, the gloves, disinfectants, all these different things. So now after you bring out everything you need, clean and sanitize your work area. Wipe down the table, the machine, the cooler with soap water solution or Clorox multi-surface cleaner, like a sanitization solution. Sanitize the funnels, the strainers, the pictures. Fill the cooler with ice and water. Well, ice. So that's something that actually my employee reached out to me afterwards and was like, okay, for sure, I know you want me go get, like fill it with ice, but I see you say to fill it with ice and water. If you want me like throw water in the cooler, like, so that part was a little, I guess, confusing for the employee. But like I say, I put it together. It's just these little fine tunings I had to talk to them about, like, okay, yeah, no, you don't gotta add no water in the cooler. Just, yes, we selling bottled water, but like apart from the coconut water, but you don't have to add water in the cooler to like cool down the bottles them fast and anything. So moving on, rinse all bottles before use. So it's brand new bottles we just use, we just purchase brand new and like brand new food grade bottles from a supplier, actually locally. So the bottles brand new, they clean, but even when I was doing it before opening the bottle, the coconut station, I used to always rinse out all the bottles. So even though they clean, I would still like give them a rinse and then get them ready for use. So then, of course, something that was very important, hand washing, so make sure wash your hands with soap and water before handling bottles or coconut. So I also even had to mention to them, like, in between bottling, or let me say, like, when you're dealing with the customer, let me say, so let me say maybe it was bottling, but then a customer come, you got to deal with them. You got to switch your gloves. If anything, depending on what you do, you may have to go wash your hands and those type of things too. So all these things is key information that I literally sit down, think about beforehand, put this together, and then now, okay, I could make little iterations, little slight changes, but basically I know for a fact, and I could share with my employees, okay, look, once you start to work at this station, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Check. Good. So you start with setup before you open, and then once you open, you check. Then now you move on to your bottling process. So you place the empty bottles upright in a holding container. You insert your funnel with your strainer into the bottle mouth. You puncture the coconut with the machine. You pour your coconut water through strainer into a bottle. Now, at the time, I had put 3 coconuts per bottle, but actually, when we opened, there was more. It was about 5, 4 to 5. Good. So, all these things, slight adjustments, but still, cap bottle tightly, then place bottle in cooler immediately after filling. So discard if it's left out more than 30 minutes. So, meaning if you bottle the coconut water and let me say maybe you forget it out on the table and it been there sitting for sure over 30 minutes, don't even sell that. Throw that away. Check. Make sure, as I tell them, make sure keep the bottles in the cooler. Yeah, we just take out a bottle to like kind of advertise when people pass in, but we just try to not keep it out for too long, maybe like a few minutes max, like maybe 5 minutes and then put it back. Check. And then because you don't want it to I ain't gonna say defrost, but like you don't want the temperature to you don't want it to heat up or like lose the coolness that now it going to start to like coconut water don't have long shelf life. So you don't want to give it any type of reason or inclination to want to spoil it. Check. So all of these is best practices, doing things the right way so that you're making sure that you're keeping good health standards, good hygiene standards, and all these different things. So check, making sure you're giving people good thing, quality products, and giving people things that could make them not wet. Check. So, like I say, place the bottles in a cooler immediately after filling. That's like rule. High priority. Check. I make that clear. High priority. Like I say, if it's left out more than 30 minutes, discard it. Don't even try to sell it. Don't say, okay, yeah, let me put it back in the cooler now and leave it cool up and then sell it after. No. Don't even play that game there. Check. Because what? That's my business. That's my reputation. If you try to play that game, like how they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Yeah, you won't play that game in my business because now you're gonna go sell that to the customer and then now they go drink it, they get a bad feeling, they start to feel sickly and thing, and then when they check back, it's because of my coconut water, not all. And then now they going around telling people buy a coconut water there, buy a Oliki coconut stand, and why give me a bad feeling, why I don't think, and now like I say earlier, reputation. You want to try to keep a good reputation for your business. You want people to see that they could depend on you when they contact you for a product or a service, that you have it, and that you're giving them good quality service and products, not things that maybe half quality or you get something cheaper. So the quality ain't all that, but you're trying to cut costs. Not around here. Not with this guy. Let me make sure clarify that. Check. Maybe other people, other companies does move like that, but not all of them. Check. So bottom line, I look at those things as very important. Your reputation, in your business reputation is important. Like a good example, think on like maybe certain businesses that you maybe had no, let me say food specifically, that maybe some type of scare come out, like maybe they get found that they ain't cleaning the kitchen properly, or maybe some virus break out of that specific company. That has tarnished the company reputation. And okay, maybe you could still keep the lights on and still, keep keep a reasonable reputation that is still running good. Certain companies, like, let me say, weathered those storms that, they had those type of issues and, let me say, scandals, but they still open, they still was able to get through it and get things back under control and, get back in customers' good graces. But as they say, prevention is better than cure. It's better you don't have to go through all of that than you do things lax and then now you gotta do all of that back and forth, all that legal battle, all that rigmarole. Nah, we're doing things right the first time. Yeah, straight up. So, like I say, that was important, placing the battles. And then, yeah, prepare a minimum of 20 battles in the morning to meet demand. Now, during operation, maintain at least 10 to 20 bottles ready in the cooler during peak hours. Wipe down work surfaces regularly, especially after each batch. Disinfect cutting machine and strainer every 2 to 3 hours. Good. Now, husk disposal. Place husk into wheelbarrow immediately after coconuts are open. Once full, transport to designated trash can. The signage, place the open or fresh coconut water available sign at roadside each morning without blocking the sidewalk. And then track all sales, of course, important, cash or digital. Good. Customer service, always greet the customer politely. Use gloves when handling coconuts or bottles. Maintain eye contact and thank customers after each sale. Handle complaints respectfully and escalate to operator if unresolved. Closing procedures, stop sales and begin disassembly. Pack remaining coconuts, bottles, caps, utensils, and machines. Drain, cooler, and wipe dry. Disassemble tent, table, and chairs. Like I said, that was when we had to, like, it was a removable, a buildable breakdown setup. Remove trash, husks, and ice water. Leave area clean. So basically saying, like, make sure you remove all the garbage, the coconut husk, the chips that might be lying around. Let me say the ice water in the cooler, empty it. So like I say, drain cooler and wipe it. And then leave the area clean. Make sure you clean up, sweep up if anything around. And yeah, store equipment securely, wash hands after all closing duties, and then record final sale tallies. Good. And then, yeah, some final things like safety and hygiene rules. Always wash hands before starting shift, after handling coconuts, well, before and after closing. Always use gloves when handling food or drinks. Do not reuse bottle caps. Bottled coconut water must remain in cooler until sold. Station must remain clean and free from spills or waste. Then lastly, emergency procedures. If the tent collapses, which we did experience this, fun fact, if the tent collapses, immediately stop services, secure tent and move equipment to safe location. Machine malfunction, stop use, switch to manual cutting if safe, and report issue to operator, or let me say escalate. Complaint, customer complaints, remain calm, listen, replace product if necessary, and log complaint. Then medical emergency, stop work, provide first aid if trained, and call emergency services if necessary. So yeah, that's a whole SOP. I know I went through a lot, but I wanted you to really get an idea of what SOP look like, what all information that's be in it. Like I say, this is more geared towards like agricultural and food and beverage products. So if you have a food and beverage product like making like a natural drink or any kind of drink or things along those lines, this have a little similarities to you, a lot. But yeah, bottom line, like I say, the idea is going back to scenario 2. So let me bring it back up there for you just to kind of close that off. The disorganized business, you got your construction and maintenance. So yes, I know I talk about the SOP about agriculture, but example, so the problem is you're gonna clear process, staff confused. So when I do my diagnosis, you're gonna SOPs, like what I just show, you're gonna structured workflow, no accountability. So we gotta go through some process mapping, and then we gotta create some SOPs for you. You gotta decide who going to do what, so define roles, and then standardize communication. With they, I probably would also, so let me move on and say, like I tell them if there's no system, people can always guess. But one thing I'll also mention to them is it would be good if they get an automated scheduling. So let me say if a person wants a service, they have like a scheduling platform that they could schedule themselves. The company could schedule the employees or even the services, and everything. Use simple tracking tools. So track your orders. So like I said, the open projects and your finances, so your revenue and these things, maybe even your inventory and these different things, and then reduce miscommunication. So like I say, you standardize your communication streams so that now in that, yeah, I thought Joe was going to do that job, but you won't tell me in time. Let me say, so like your employee, maybe you tell them that they have to go do a job, but then maybe they forget and they tell you, bye, I thought is this other person was going to do that one by. And then now the customer vex because they didn't get the service. Your employee telling you, well, I can't be held accountable because I thought it was somebody else, and you making your money. So what a point on business to make the money. Check. So bottom line, that's scenario two. Now, scenario three is a short one, so we could get through it quick. And yeah, so let me say scenario three, business stable but stuck. So they have a growth problem. So we have a third business now, a retail store. So they have monthly revenue of 15,000. They've been consistent for 2 years. So let me say the monthly revenue of 15,000 has been consistent for at least 2 years, but they ain't seeing no growth. So they've been 15,000, like literally like they can't break past that for like 2 years. Now the problem is the business plateaued, meaning like I said, they ain't growing. They ain't, like in a business, maybe you increase your sales, so now you make more money. Or maybe you introduce a new product, so now you make more money. But now whatever they're doing for the past 2 years, they ain't making no more money than 15,000. And okay, as we see this one, I really went into the expenses and those things because I really had to. Let me say they're doing all right. They coming back home with decent amount of profit, maybe at least a 5,000 or so. But like I say, they ain't growing. So the problem, the business plateaued. They don't have no innovation and no expansion thinking. So bottom line, if I had to break it down, when I diagnose it, I see that, okay, they have the same product, which ain't really a problem, but let me say in this case, it's a problem. They have the same products. They make no type of changes, no type of maybe even promotions or anything like that. Let me say, like I say, same product, they ain't got no marketing push. So maybe they have a social media page, but they ain't really using it like that. Or like I said, they ain't really marketing themselves like that. They ain't got no marketing push. Meaning like promoting or letting people know what they selling, whether online, whether like physical, maybe flyers, whatever it is, however you decide you want to market your business, they ain't doing it. Or, like I said, no new revenue streams. So, okay, is a retail store, maybe they're selling clothes, but maybe if they introduce a little, like the little standing cooler and start selling some drinks, that's added revenue right there too. So that's one example, but just to name one out of many, because let me say maybe, matter of fact, let me just get it. So let me say I diagnose it, I see those problems that I just mentioned, and I say, you know what? To help your situation. So, like I say, the situation is over here on the right side. Retail store have a monthly revenue of 15,000. Now they ain't making no more than that. They want to see what they could do to make more. So after I diagnose it, I see same products, no marketing, no new revenue streams. So I come and I say, okay, after I do my diagnosis, we have our discovery and so on. I tell them, okay, look, we got to do three things. We got to introduce upsells or bundles. And secondly, we got to improve our product offering. And thirdly, we improve our customer experience. Good. So now I'm going to break these things down. So introducing upsells or bundles. Upsells mean when somebody come and buy something, you have something else that like kind of go with it. So like think on like our bundles too, similarly, would be like maybe you go in a retail store and they got like the mannequin with a full outfit. They like kind of promoting you to buy that full outfit. So now instead of you buying one item, you're gonna buy like maybe two or three, maybe four now. You might have a hat, short pants, shoes. Good. Upsell similarly, maybe you're selling, like I say, shirts, but then you got something that you could add on it that costs more money. A good example, Cracks. Cracks is the best example of this upsell thing. So let me say the crack store, they selling the cracks. The cracks is a certain price, but then now you could go and buy gibbets for it. So that's an upsell. So now rightfully the product that they're selling is the cracks or the various different types of crack shoes that they sell. But then now they get some more money out of you probably every time you buy a cracks, because now they upsell you with the gibbets, because now you want maybe every time you buy a cracks, you buy 4 gibbets. So that's extra money there in their pocket. So I would introduce something like that to the customer. Tell them, okay, look, you got these products. Are you ever thinking about like upselling or maybe bundling certain of these products so that now when customers come to buy, you're going to encourage them to buy more, because now instead of only buying one product, they're buying multiple, or like I say, maybe, well, similarly, same with the upsell. Instead of buying one product, you're buying multiple, Now improve your product offering. So similarly, that could tie into marketing as well. You could like improve your product offering by promoting it better, but just doing an analysis of the product, making sure it's something that people want, like making sure that it's priced well, it's, these different factors, so you basically do a kind of deep dive of the product line, so all the different products that are being sold, and you kind of gauge to see how you could like offer it better, whether promote it or maybe make slight adjustments to like the pricing or maybe even color scheme or like something that you could do, small adjustments that you could make to your product line that now would improve it, that now would cause clients or customers to like encourage them to shop more, so now they're gonna come and say, wow, okay, this urban wear store just upgrade the offering, and now they got this new colorway of this shoe that they sell, or whatever it is. You make an upgrade. You do something that now you're back in the sight of the customer, something that the customer is standing out again. Is like, okay, hey, look, it's urban wear place doing things, man. Maybe we should go in there and check it out. And then now encouraging people to come, and now that's encouraging people to buy. Check. And then, like I say, you improve your customer experience. So that is whether in store, like interacting with you in person, your customer experience online. So let me say maybe you do have an online service or platform that, like an online social media platform that people could go and see your products, or maybe you got a website, or increase your customer experience. So maybe you don't have a website, but you're checking by, if I make a website, it would be better for me because then I could just have all my products there. Anytime a new product come online, I could like do a nice promotion on the web page, all these things, improve your customer experience. So maybe also what could fall under that is doing things like, maybe, like I said, just increasing their experience. So maybe reaching out to them, or doing promotions, doing like birthday greetings and things like that. So let me say, like when you got your database of your clients, you register their birthday, and now you could go ahead and send out birthday greetings to these people email, so improve your customer experience, do different things so that now when the customer interact with your business, they feel better about, let me say, the interaction, whether, like I say, it be a conversation, or maybe like they go on your platform, whether it be a social media or your website, and like maybe it's just so user friendly or easy to use that they're checking, wow, I like how this company upgrade the service in that manner, and all these things to bolster your business, and people gonna come and spend more money. And then, yeah, I could talk about expansion. So I'll recommend that maybe they only got in-store sales, so maybe they have a storefront location that people could come and purchase their items, products, but then maybe if they do some minor additions, they could actually do an online sales platform, whereas they could do delivery, so they could create like a delivery system and do online sales that now, or even if it's online sales that people come and pick up in the store, you increase your reach, because now maybe you might have people that check in, what, I rather pay with card, and maybe they check in, they like that they could just go on your website, see what products they want, add it in a cart, and then just pay for it right there one time online on the website or on your platform, and then they could just go and pick it up by the store, for instance. So things along these lines is things that online sales and the delivery could bolster your revenue as well, or even partnerships. Maybe you partner with other brands. So let me say, like we talk about retail clothes, maybe they got like a local clothing brand that doing good. Maybe you partner with them, or even if it ain't local, maybe international, like influencers. Like maybe an influencer come to your country or your island or your city, and you decide, you know what, let me reach out to this person and ask them if they would be willing to come and do like a little promotion by my company and all of that. Like certain influencers and content creators and thing, because they got like a certain amount of followers and viewership and these things, by them coming by your business and making a short video like, hey, yeah, you want to get to your nice new clothes, come check this out, check this place out. And because of that, people see that little video and they check it. What if this person shopping there, I gotta go shop there too, bye. And then now you get new customers just after one little marketing, marketing campaign that we call it. So a good example of that, you got this artist here, Kenny G, who is a bouillon artist from Dominica. But you know, bouillon rocking the place right now in St. Martin, even especially now it's carnival season. They just had a bouillon event Saturday gone. And yeah, like I say, you go anywhere on the road for carnival, you gonna hear bouillon music. So long story short, Kenny G have a ad I see from one of the local retail stores, the local clothing stores, that they had him come do a promotion similarly. So similarly, he just come checking, yeah, you want fresh clothes? You want these Lacoste? You want this Psycho Bunny? Come check this business and get everything you need. And all they have to do, they make that one video. Okay, they probably have to pay him for it. You check, but they make that video and they boost it on their social media platform. And then additionally, they have him share it on his social media as well. So now his followers seeing it as well. So now every time that video come up, people seeing it. And like I say, maybe the first time they see it, they say, you know what, let me go shop. But then the next time they see it, or maybe somebody new see it and they're checking, what, can you G shop in there? Let me go buy there, buy. Same situation. Partnerships, collaborations, all these things like bolstering businesses and advancing things. You check. So that there is scenario 3. A business that just stuck, plateaued, that making money but can and need to grow. So bottom line, if nothing changes, nothing going to grow. So if they just keep doing things, the same thing, same status quo, day in, day out, you're doing the same thing, you can't expect things to change. Like they say, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So if nothing changes, nothing grows. But bottom line, you need to optimize before you could expand. So that was my last scenario. And that is like, now we're going to wrap up, we're going to close up, get things wrapped up and closed. But like, before I start to close, I have to say, like, if we really look at this from a big picture, it really all ties together, you know, different problems, but the same approach, you know, and okay, yes, of course, a different solution, but meaning different problems, same approach in the sense of you diagnose what the problem is. So you gotta like literally sit down, analyze, like, okay, this is the problem. What's causing the problem? Why is this a problem? Like, what can be done? So yeah, diagnose or analyze, and then you clarify. So once you do your diagnosis, you're gonna get clarity of what the problem is and what solution needs to be implemented. Then from there, you could optimize and systemize. You check. So and understand all of these different examples from today, from last week, all of them tied together, and realize that all of it ties in directly, like connects totally with my execute with excellence framework. So I mentioned about it here on different occasions as well. But understand, this is the process, this is a procedure, this is how things flowing, this is how things going. So client comes, we say they reach out, whether by scheduling a diagnosis or they get referred to me by a friend or whatever the case, however they reach out to me and we schedule a diagnosis call or meeting and a discovery. Check what the idea is to diagnose, see what the problem is, get an idea of who the person is and what the problem is. You know, ask some few questions to gain some insight on, like create a full picture so that then now you could create a solution. And then now once you clarify what the full picture is, you get clarity and you create your solution, is now to just implement it. So you go through the process of implementing, and then once it's implemented, you do testing, make sure it's working. Maybe you make some minor adjustments to make sure everything running smooth and streamlined. And then once you do your adjustments and everything running how you want it, run with it, put it to use. And so, like I said, it's all the same. So from there, if you want to grow, you scale up. But now you got things organized, you got things systemized, you got things optimized. Check. So bottom line, if I had to really summarize things, core message today, and actually last week too, business is not about guessing. It's about understanding and adjusting, making data-driven decisions, just making smart decisions and smart choices, period. But usually data does help you do that. So yeah. So I'm curious to know if you had to say like you see yourself in any of these scenarios, which one would you say you are right now? So whether losing money or disorganized or just stuck, which one? What do you feel you resonate most with? I'm curious to know. And I leave that question there for you to comment even after the live is ended. I'm curious to know what your insights and inputs are. So leave a comment, leave some comments even after if you rewatch it. Leave a comment for me. I'll go and check it out. Just check. So bottom line, in closing, this is how I think when I see opportunity. So like how I talk about in the earlier part of this episode, spotting opportunity. I give you a little like insight into how all of the mind works. When I seeing things, seeing potential, seeing the vision. But also this is how I approach fixing problems, whether for myself or for clients. So let me say my consulting practice, consulting services. This is how a workflow from me would look. So like how we talk about workflow, basically I outlined for you here now my workflow. You know, I already have it outlined for myself. Let me make sure clarify that. Check because I don't know. Basically, like I just tell it to you. A customer contact, Once they make contact in whatever various way, whether through my scheduling platform that I already put together, so I already have like a link that they could click on and go and schedule an appointment with me. Good. And we get down, do a diagnosis, uh, discovery card. Good. So I don't got that set up, but if, like I say, maybe they don't go through that route, maybe is that maybe they hear about my services from another person or another business that they get my contact or they reach out to me through social media from my contact. And then we say we have a discussion and we say, okay, well, we could meet on this and this date. Then I schedule that call, that appointment and meeting with that client. Moving on, once I meet with them, we diagnose, we meet, we analyze, I gain an understanding of where they stand. Like I say, create a full picture where they stand and what's the issues and bottlenecks that they're facing that they want to get past, so where they are and where they're trying to get to. Create a full picture, gather data by asking questions, and then from there, provide invoicing, let me say a proposal, so that it has scope of work, financial scope, so how much they'll have to pay, timeline, different terms, all that good stuff. Once they agree to the proposal, then we sign a contract. And then once the contract is signed, the work might start officially. Let me say it like that, because of course, do the things beforehand. But yeah, once the work start, they got it work timeline. Once you're doing the work and you stick within the timeline, once you reach to the end of the timeline, like I say, you do your text testing, you bring it to the customer, you make sure it's looking and working like how they want it to work. And then once they have any adjustments they want, they ask you to make adjustments. Once you make those adjustments, or if they don't have no adjustments they want and everything look good, then that's the final version. And we could off board. So let me say usually they'll have like a off boarding contract, like okay, both parties agree that this project is completed, that the client agree that they get what they asked for, and you as the consultant, me, get my payment, and yeah, you do a half boarding, and then from there you get your money. Like I mentioned earlier, maybe you might do okay 50% up front or some percentage up front and then the rest after. But however it be, you get your money, and that's one project done. That's money in the bank, on to the next one. Check. So that's what it's all about. And that's like literally simply how it has flowed. Like we as people, we like to complicate things. We like to make things more complicated than it really is, But if we really was to observe things and see how things really work in, things flow simple now. It's just the same across the board, So we gotta just stop trying to go against the current, stop trying to go against the grain, and just flow with it. Just flow with the breeze, flow with the current, straight. Check. So, like I say, this is what I would do. This is how I would diagnose, or let me say, an example of a business case of how I would approach a case with a business client, consulting client. We say, check. And bottom line, to really wrap up and close off, let me say, every problem in business have a solution. So if you take the time to understand it, you could find a solution. But Most people, they just kind of pile on instead of trying to solve the root problem. You know, one thing I could say too, if you spot the opportunity, if you fix the problem, you will execute with excellence. Check straight up. And that's all I gotta say on that. This has been my episode on spotting opportunity and fixing business problems like a pro. And I got one or two last announcements before I go. But yeah, I done with all the content and the information for today. Check. So bottom line, to like I say, close off with these last final information I want to share. I guess more information. So yeah, like I say right now, Carnival in St. Martin. So festivities. If you never experienced St. Martin Carnival, trust me, something you want. You know, every April going into May. So like mid-April, it officially starts going into the beginning of May. So if you ain't from St. Martin and you never experienced a carnival, St. Martin is a good place to start. Telling you. So yeah, for everybody out there who is here experiencing carnival, be safe out there. You know, remember, it's rum, not juice. You check? Rum, not juice. Because trust and believe, people out here drinking this rum like juice. I telling you, what? I see some videos. Look, especially some girls. I see some videos of some girls them look knocking back shots like it's joke, like 3 shots back to back. And from how they skin up their face, it ain't like just a nice, smooth, tasty, sweet shot alone. Like it got a little kick to it. And knock one back, knock the next one, knock the third one, then two twos, another video of them knocking back another 3. Rum not juice. Hey, people out there drinking rum like water right now in St. Martin. So look, be safe out there. Take care of yourself. Your body is a temple. Remember that. So okay, yeah, you could enjoy yourself, but don't forget your body. Take care of your body still. Drink some water. Drink coconut water. I recommend coconut water, electrolytes, healing. Yeah, good stuff, especially after all that rum. But what? Rum not juice, by Carnival season right now. Be safe out there. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the revelry. If you're in here, you're missing out. If you want to, I'm telling you, start planning from now. Next year, look, I got friends from last year when they was here, they checking, yo, I starting to look into tickets for next year from now. Good, so understand the energy. And trust me, this year was 55 years of Carnival. They celebrate 55 years. And it's been a big one. A lot of people come in, travel from different places, whether like United States, Europe, in the Caribbean. I see people from all over Trinidad, from all over the place. I like talking about that. They say I show speed coming here just now. So he doing a Caribbean tour and he was in Trinidad. He beat certified Samson, but then they say he went Grenada and he get lashed in a race. So lash meaning he get beat. And yeah, so they say he coming here too. So hopefully St. Martin give him a good show. You never know. Maybe I might get to see him. Maybe you never know. Maybe he might end up on a podcast. Okay, God. But anyways, yeah, man, love alone, love and blessings. Good. Like I say, I come into a close now. I promise you that. Like I say, I've been talking about this podcast coming to the 1 year anniversary, and I got a joke for you. I telling you. Well, if you don't laugh, I know I laugh. I laugh at myself. So If you don't laugh, so be it. But I got a joke for you still. So at least on two separate episodes, on two separate occasions, I've been saying, yeah, I'm coming up to a year and 56 weeks. And I keep stressing 56 weeks. I've been doing this straight, like a year, 56 weeks. And it's only last week it hit me like, yo, what you saying? When I reach week 56, you're gonna make a year, but you making a year. Understand? Next episode is a year. That's why I had to make this announcement. You check 9 o'clock or not. I had to stay here and make this announcement because it's worth it, it's valuable, it's important. You understand and know. Next week, which is May, let me make sure verify because good. Next week, Monday, May 4th, 2026 is the 1 year anniversary of this podcast. Yo, man, how you lad? Next year. Next week. Next week going to be 1 year. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy how time flies. Like literally 52 weeks straight I've been doing this. Obviously, episode 52 right now. Yeah, straight. Consistency. You gotta have priorities for sure to do that because I promise you, they had weeks whereas, let me say, even on the day of, it's like, bye. A lot of things I want to do. Like maybe even sometimes important things, maybe like certain meetings that have to take place or so on. Like I have to tell people like, bye, look, not Monday. Today is an example. Today, I get contacted about 6 o'clock, checking like, hey, we want to have a team meeting just now. Because from time they say, yeah, we want to have a team meeting. I listen in and I check in, yeah, when and where. So they check in, yeah, by one or other team member's house. I check in when. So they check in, well, we basically about to meet up just now. And I check in, bye. That can't be. Today's podcast. You check? Literally, I just say podcast. So watch nothing. Priorities. I gotta do my podcast. You check? Now keep in mind that was an important meeting still, because that's business, that's work. You check? But what? Priorities, as most I could say. I already scheduled myself and decided, look, this is what it is. This is like that don't set in stone right now, like carving like into the rock self, like anybody who know me right now know, oh yeah, Monday podcast day. By Monday, Oliver can't really do nothing like that, or don't try to call him to do much because podcast day. Good. People don't know, but that's to show you the consistency. If I was somebody that I had just start a couple episodes and then stop, or maybe like I miss couple weeks, or maybe like I miss a week and then I come back and then over time, here and there I'm missing a week or two. People will be checking, man, he's serious. Check. But because of that consistency, they're checking, no man, Oliver ain't playing no games, but he making sure every week he putting that drop in that bucket. You check? No matter what it is, he making sure he putting that drop in that bucket. So yeah, like bottom line, the joke is I've been saying how long, like at least couple weeks ago now, couple weeks consecutively. Yeah, 1 year coming up, 56 weeks, but it's really 52 weeks in a year. I check in. I want extra long year, man. Like extending the year self. Like I had to laugh at myself. Like, yo, Oliver, where you going with? 56 years. You on big podcast live talking about 56 weeks. And thing, I know I just say yeah, but still 56 weeks. And it's 52. Because rightfully, think on it, simple math, simple math. A year have 12 months, a month basically have 4 weeks, more, some of them more. But average, let me say, basically 4 weeks. So 4 times 12 is 48. So it makes sense that it's only 4 extra weeks as opposed to from 48 to 56. Check. But anyways, like I said, I had to laugh at myself about that chicken. But yo, your maths was not mathing there, Oliver. But at least it wasn't no calculations for no business or none of them thing. And yeah, we on the ball always, no matter what. So trust me, we on it. Like I say, it's 52 weeks in a year. So right now, today, if you check it out, wherever you find the name, it's episode 52 right now. And next week we're making a year. Because I started this podcast May 5th, 2025. And next week, Monday, is going to be May 4th, 2026. God bless. So just know, next week, we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun in the stew. We're going to be here. Man, I got to pop a bottle of champagne. I promise you. I got to go buy a bottle of champagne so I could pop in here for my podcast. Because, yeah, boy, we doing things. That's something to commend. That's a lot of people can't say they do anything even remotely close to that. You check, a lot of people can't stay consistent like that, So yeah, that in itself is a blessing, and I thank God for that. I thank God for this journey. For sure, I could say without question, I have grown from since last year starting this to now. And yeah, we got a lot more work to go. Straight up. Don't think I forget you. We still got them interviews coming up. We still got people, good things coming. Always. But wow, like they say, good things come to those who wait. So we here. We here with it. And we making moves. We chipping away. And we're going to reach that finish line. We're going to get our abundant blessings. And yeah, just God's guidance and God's blessings over our lives. Wholeheartedly, everything we do, everything we put our hands to, we don't know blessings and big up yourself. Check. So, with that said, like I say, this has been episode 52, where we look for sparking opportunity and we fix business problems. Next week, we celebrating. We taking I guess, like how everybody been telling me, yeah, you are talking business. Well, we taking a quick tantrum, quick side road. Celebration time. It's carnival time in St. Martin, so what? Celebration time on All Over It podcast, same ways. But not this week though. Next week for that. Yeah, straight. Check. So catch me here next week. We're gonna be festive. We're gonna be popping champagne. And honestly, we're gonna do like a recap. Like I'm gonna go over like the year, like literally pull up certain clips and like literally go through the list of the episodes and show you like, oh, this is where we come from. Real talks never forget. We don't plan where we come from. Yeah. Okay, good. Big up popcorn for that one. That is it. We don't forget. Check. Started from the bottom. Now we here. Yeah. We ain't forget where we start. So next week, we here with it. So yeah, you don't know more people. Love and blessings. I love and appreciate you, especially for going past the 9. I tell myself, I tell her, we ain't doing this 9 o'clock thing no more. I tell her, 1.5 max. But, this was valid, valuable information, something that we shouldn't have cut off at rush, so worthy of the, I'll say, overtime. So, anyways, blessings and love, my people. Catch me here next week for episode 53. Like I always tell her, you do all our social media, YouTube stuff. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell them, yo, all over it podcast. You want to do business, you want to motivate yourself, you want to just grow. All over it podcast. Check it out. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You like it, share it, subscribe on YouTube. We on a journey to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Check. Tell your friend, yo, share it to them and tell them, yo, check this out. You want to see this. You and say you wanted to start a business, check this out. A you got your business, you say business running tough, check this out. Yeah, whatever the situation is. All over podcast. We'll be uncovering it all. Straight up. From day one and forever. Yeah. Straight. Forever. Because what? It's gonna live forever. You check? Yeah. So love and blessings for people. I love you, I love her. I tell her all the time, without are you, it's no all over podcast. I wouldn't be here a year later without you. So it's love. I appreciate you. Check. I appreciate you consistently tuning in with me, just like how I saying consistent here. Check. It's love. So you don't know. Big up yourself one time. Bless up yourself one time, two times. Like I say, be safe out there in these streets, even in your house. And yeah, have a safe and productive and positive week filled with blessings and prosperity. You know? Okay, I know for some areas, Canada's productivity might be on a low, but what? Have a blessed one, period, whatever it is. Check. And with that, I bid you all adieu, and I will see you next week. Blessings.